Hi, I'm Randy Todd, and I'll be your shirtless chef today. We are gonna make hangover potatoes to start. This is the best brunch food on the planet, I promise, and everyone loves it. First, we need some Yukon Gold potatoes, if you can get them. If you can't, red is fine. Bake them the night before, if possible. Put them in the fridge overnight, lets the starches condense, and you just get a more even cooking surface for the potato. Browns flatly. You get a really nice color out of it, and it's easier, it won't stick quite as much. So I just make little cubes. You can make them smaller. What happens when you make them too small is they turn into all crust, and there's no fluffy middle, which is delicious. If you make them too big, then they're too fluffy, and you want more crust. So we're gonna do a little balance of some a little bigger and some a little smaller. What I've done, just to save a little time, is I've already heated up my cast iron skillet. I like to heat it up slowly, over 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll add a little oil and let the oil warm up. I'm gonna crank it a little higher. Extra virgin olive oil. You can use coconut oil as well. It just depends. I don't always like the fact that it imparts a coconutty flavor. And so, regular olive oil, and the only thing with that is you have to watch not to overheat it because it can produce some research indicates you can produce some toxifying chemicals at higher temperatures. So just make sure to keep it on medium heat. Okay, so now we're gonna throw these in. And what we're gonna do is try and get them all on one side, and I like to make it an even side. The best thing for us to use would probably be chopsticks, because they will not harm our pan. Okay, and then you can really get in there and turn them. So I like to keep them moving around a little bit so they don't stick, but you don't have to play with them too much. All right, so once they're brown, on all sides, nice and evenly, we're gonna move on to the seasoning. Black pepper, just a couple sprinkles is fine. Maybe a quarter teaspoon to a half teaspoon, based on what you prefer. I like to add garlic powder, and that's because I don't want my potatoes to become moist. The crunchier, the crispier, the better for me with this dish. So garlic powder in this one case is okay. Now, the thing with the garlic powder is you really want to make sure not to burn it. So if it starts to turn golden brown, it's on its way to burning. It really does not need to be cooked very much. It's just nice to have a flavor that's not quite raw garlic, I find. Sea salt, I'm using a Himalayan pink sea salt because of the trace nutrients. Again, to taste, but typically, I really like salt. The last thing is, actually two more things. These are chia seeds, which you may have heard about recently. They've been gaining in popularity for the last 30 years or so as a source of omega-3s, which is important for regulating, growth, energy, and just healthy functioning. So omega-3s are found in high concentrations in chia seeds. You don't need to overcook them again because you'll digest them just as fine raw. And the last thing is nutritional yeast, which also has B vitamins and protein, and tastes great. And so we're just going to sprinkle some nutritional yeast on there, and the idea is really just to get a coating of everything. As you can see there, and you can use a spatula to stir it or whatever you prefer. I just do it. So there we have our coated hangover potatoes. And yeah, serve immediately if possible, because that's when they're most delicious. You can also use sesame seeds, which I love as well. And the sesame seeds mixed with sea salt is a traditional Japanese spice called gomasyo. And what happens is when you warm the sesame seeds, they release their oil, which melts with the salt, and it actually spreads the salt flavor evenly around the food. It also has tons of amino acids and calcium, so it's very, very good for you. As are the chia seeds. In this case, I just decided to switch it up a little bit because people know about sesame seeds, but not as many people know how good chia seeds are for you. And they taste great too. Breakfast is served. One for me and one for you. Enjoy your brunch.